The Last Hearth. The village of Frosthaven was nestled in the northern reaches of Albion, its houses huddled together like frightened children against the encroaching winter. Snow fell in thick, suffocating sheets, blanketing the land in silence. Only the faint glow of the Last Hearth, a solitary forge at the edge of the village, pierced the icy veil. Inside the forge, its heat a defiance against the bitter cold, Aldwyn the blacksmith worked with a focus as sharp as the blade he was crafting. His hands, calloused and weathered, moved with purpose, each strike of his hammer ringing like a heartbeat in the stillness. The sword before him was no ordinary weapon. It bore the mark of the Sigil Draconis, a coiled dragon etched into the steel. As he worked, the door creaked open, letting in a gust of freezing air. Aldwyn didn't look up. "You've been standing there long enough," he said. "Come in or leave, but don't waste my fire." The visitor stepped inside, his boots crunching against the frost-laden floor. He was young, no more than 20, with eyes that held both fear and determination. His cloak was ragged, his sword a rusted relic at his side. "I am Galen of Southmere," the young man said, his voice trembling. "I seek the blacksmith of Frosthaven." Aldwyn finally looked up, his gaze sharp as a blade. "And what does a boy like you want with me?" Galen squared his shoulders. "I wish to become a dragon slayer." Aldwyn chuckled, though there was no humor in it. He set down his hammer and wiped his hands on a soot-stained cloth. "Do you know what you're asking, boy? To carry the sigil is not to seek glory. It is to bear a burden that will break you." "I know the cost," Galen said, though his voice wavered. "But Albion needs more slayers. The dragons are returning." Aldwyn sighed, his expression weary. He gestured for Galen to sit by the forge. "Tell me, what do you know of dragons?" "They are creatures of fire and shadow," Galen said quickly. "They destroy villages, hoard treasures." "No," Aldwyn interrupted, his tone sharp. "Dragons are not merely beasts. They are reflections of the darkness within us. Greed, fear, despair. To slay a dragon is to face what lies in your own soul. Can you do that, boy?" Galen hesitated, his hands tightening into fists. "I've faced enough darkness already. I lost my family to the wormlings of Eldmore. I've wandered Albion alone, fighting to survive. I have nothing left to lose." Aldwyn studied him for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. But know this. If you take up this path, you will not return the same. Follow me." Aldwyn led Galen to the heart of the forge, where a massive anvil sat beneath a canopy of chains and gears. Above it hung a cauldron filled with molten silver, its glow casting flickering shadows on the walls. "This is the forge of the sigil," Aldwyn said. "It is where weapons of the Concordium were made, and where the sigil is burned into those who dare to carry it." Galen's gaze fell to his rusted sword. "Will you reforge this?" Aldwyn smirked. "That relic? No. A true slayer's blade must be forged anew." He picked up a lump of raw steel and placed it on the anvil. "If you want to prove yourself, you'll forge it with your own hands." "But I've never—" "Then learn," Aldwyn said, handing him the hammer. "A slayer is forged, not born." The hours stretched into the night as Galen toiled at the forge. His arms ached, his hands blistered, but he refused to stop. Aldwyn watched in silence, occasionally giving curt instructions. "Strike harder. Heat it again. Quench it slowly or it'll shatter." By dawn, the blade was taking shape, a slender, elegant sword with a sharp edge and a hilt designed for precision. Galen held it up, his exhaustion replaced by a flicker of pride. "It's done," he said, his voice hoarse. "Not yet," Aldwyn replied. He took the blade and carried it to the cauldron of molten silver. "Every slayer's blade bears the sigil, and so must you." Aldwyn dipped the sword into the cauldron, the metal hissing as the silver etched the coiled dragon into the blade. When he withdrew it, the sigil gleamed brightly, as if alive. "Now, your turn," Aldwyn said, turning to Galen. He held up an iron brand shaped like the sigil. "You must bear the mark." Galen hesitated, his gaze flickering to the glowing brand. Then, with a deep breath, he bared his forearm and nodded. The searing pain was like nothing he had ever known. He bit down hard, refusing to cry out, as the sigil was burned into his flesh. When it was over, he sank to his knees, clutching his arm as the mark glowed faintly. "Welcome to the Sigil Knights," Aldwyn said. "Your journey begins now." Galen left the forge at dawn, his new sword at his side and the sigil burning on his arm. As he walked toward the horizon, Aldwyn watched him go, a mix of pride and sorrow in his eyes. "Young fool," Aldwyn muttered. "May you find the strength to carry what I could not." Behind him the Last Hearth flickered, its flames eternal, waiting for the next soul brave or desperate enough to seek it. Years later, the villagers of Frosthaven would tell tales of Galen, the boy who became a slayer. Some said he fell in battle against a dragon. Others claimed he wandered Albion still, fighting shadows unseen. But in the heart of Frosthaven, the Last Hearth burned on, its light a beacon for those who dared to face their own darkness.